Brought to you by Public Health, Seattle and King County, the Washington Department of Health, Washington Chapter AAP, and Within Reach. No matter where your classroom is, whether in person or online, routine vaccinations protect your child from serious diseases like measles, mumps, and chickenpox, and they keep your child safe, healthy, and thriving. Need help finding a provider? Visit parenthelp123.org or call the Help Me Grow Washington hotline at 1-800-322-2588.
What's on your heart? Are you exhausted at the lack of progress for people of color in business, politics, and life? This is Cindy Bright, the host of Heartbeat Radio. Each week, we explore this heart condition of the country that is affecting you and me. We have real conversations about what's necessary for change. It's time to change this dialogue. Will you join this Heartbeat weekly, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio?
The Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle, empowering communities and changing lives. The Urban League has been there to serve when our community is at its lowest. It's never mattered what the crisis was. The systemic oppression remains constant for those most vulnerable. Here at the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle, we'll be temporarily adjusting our hours of operation and available services. If you are in need of resources, we recommend that you give us a call at 206-461-3792. To make an appointment, press 0 and speak with the receptionist. Walk-in hours will be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. And hey, we'll gladly work with you via phone as best as we can if you're exhibiting any signs of illness to assist you with information to save your home, find you a place to sleep, or connect you to job opportunities. The Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. That's 206-461-3792.
This is Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Welcome to The Sentiment, a thought-provoking show with discussions that consist of life's experiences. We are bringing thoughts and perspectives out of captivity and isolation into spaces that promote awareness, healing, restores hope, and proclaims victory in everyday thinking and living. Come sip with me. Good evening, y'all. Welcome back to The Sentiment. It's your girl, Latrice Chenee. And I want to thank you for tapping in, for tuning in to The Sentiment on Rainier Avenue Radio .world once again. Today's topic of discussion will be transform versus conform. And this topic is crazy, y'all, because first of all, let me just quickly shout out this lady named Desiree, I believe it's Wilkins Fitch, who spoke today at our ESJ fair at King County and led a discussion and spoke to this and just empowered me more and inspired me more than ever as a Black woman. And it's just a reminder. So there's so many different ways that we conform to things. We maybe use our voice or we don't use it at all and we remain silent. So we are conforming to the idealistics, to the beliefs, to the standard, to whatever that is, versus using our voice or using our actions or contributing into it in a way that we are transforming it entirely. And so that could be anything. That could be in a friendship, that can be in a group setting, that could be in our churches, that can be in our career. And so, and a lot of times for me, it hit home today because the idea of conforming and being silenced in a space where my voice and my ability to move fear out of the way can transform someone or transform a situation or a culture that is happening. And so just, for a quick example, she was mentioning how we don't use our voices in spaces as people of color when we're being harmed, and we're not speaking up because we're afraid to lose our jobs, right? And she spoke plainly, you can get another one. When did God not provide? And that hit for me, because when has he not shown favor to me? When has he not went before me? And when has he not provided an opportunity for me to excel and to be great and to show his goodness and for his glory? And so it resonated with me to say, honey, transform it, wreck it all, and God will absolutely always provide for you. So what are you afraid of? So there's so many different ways to look at it. But today I have the honor of having this discussion with the absolutely amazing Shakia Danielson. Y'all, welcome, Shakia.
What's up, Drew?
What's up, girl?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
What does that say behind you? You choose
Okay,
what?
good. What'd you say?
What does that say behind you? You choose what?
Oh, what is it?
You choose to do.
In everything you choose to do in your life, find joy.
I'm with it. Nobody got time to be miserable.
Nope.
What's up, girl?
What's happening?
What is
What's
up?
going on?
It is good to see your face, creative director.
It's good to see
Y'all,
you too.
if you did not check out Elevate, it is on YouTube.
Yeah, Elevate.
We will have to show people how to find it. That was such a dope presentation. I am so proud of you. Them young people did their thing. Aaron, Nakia, Tia, your brother Kyle, they killed it, and you killed it. And the different perspectives of the aspects of the door. I think it was the wall, the windows. Girl, I don't remember. To the window. I don't even remember. But the point is the seats, if the seats could speak, if the door could talk, like
exactly,
what would it say? That was powerful.
Exactly.
That was so powerful. And it blessed me. And I can't wait to see it in person. So we'll make certain to get people tapped in so they can watch that. It really absolutely blessed me to see those young people to transition and elevate even within themselves the way that they did working on that project. So that was awesome.
Exactly.
That was awesome.
Yeah, a ton of them were dancing, so it was cool.
Yes. So today, my dear, we are talking about, you posted something that triggered me majorly, transform versus conform, and you just put reset. So it sounds like today we're hitting the reset button. And we're going to get into it a little bit from some different perspectives. And before you came on, I gave one about this young lady named Desiree, I believe it's Fitch Wilkins. And she came to an ESJ fair today that King County had and spoke to us, not conforming to the work culture where it's dominant white culture, right? And the racism in the workplace, but instead transforming it by using our voice and moving fear out of the way to make change, to create change, knowing that we'll get another job, right? Like there's no
fear. This is at your work?
Job. Yeah.
This is just at your job? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have an amazing, it's led by Willis Purvis. I'll have to have him on one day, ESJ team. Within the Division of Community and Human Services. And so they're trying to shake some stuff up. And she was raw today. She was so raw. She told people that they have mediocre white men in leadership and they need to move. She was raw today.
Well,
it was great. Girl, it was great. It was great. It was real and it was good. I'm empowered. I'm inspired. And yeah, so let's talk about it. Tell me what led you to this? Tell me a little bit.
So it's a combination of things, but I was thinking of adult peer pressure. you know? And I was thinking of like being a creative and kind of reflecting a little bit and thinking like, okay, something I noticed I've done is chased the last high. You know what I'm saying? Like, or either chased or competed with the last big thing that I was able to accomplish, not consciously, but was just like, okay, that was big. Now the next thing I got to do got to be bigger. And the next thing got to be bigger. And the next thing got to be bigger. And then it's like, okay, if it always has to be bigger, I mean, it's good to want to push yourself, but I think when it's driven by trying to prove something to somebody, or if it's driven by some adult peer pressure, this group thought idea of what, you know, success is, or if I'm trying to validate myself in some kind of way through it, then somewhere in there, whether I intend to or not, I'm conforming. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, something as simple as if you want different results, you have to make different moves. Well, we're encouraged not to conform, but be transformed by the renewing of our mind. You know what I'm saying? And it could be devastating to find out you're trying to please people. I know we like to sound strong and be like, I don't care what nobody thinks. Okay.
Well, you're speaking to an ex-people pleaser, extraordinaire. Extraordinaire. Okay. Yeah. So
getting to where you can say that and mean that.
You have to watch that though. The rest of you will try to creep up. But I will say that I truly believe I am free. But those moments, and it does creep up, and you have to check yourself. Like, hold up. You know.
It's not something that I think people set out to do necessarily. It's not something I set out to do, but I like to, when I hit certain points in my life, I like to keep it all the way uncomfortably 100, you know? And the things that it's not necessarily like a big, huge light bulb for a group. It's the stuff that, what can you say when no one's around? You know, what can you admit in your private space? You know what I'm saying? My TT would always say, you know, God is my secret judge. He's my secret judge. You know what I'm saying? What is in there that can be confessed when no one else is around? Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's real.
So even some stuff that's not necessarily a sin, but let it go. Let it be what it was. You know what I'm saying? It was a great time, and there's no need to try and revel or live in that. And I'm not saying discredit it or anything like that, but that was a time. Now have a new one.
Right. And
you
that
know what I'm saying?
sometimes, and you know, like you said, sin, whether it was good or not, but sometimes shame and guilt, people think that's just with the bad stuff. Sometimes people literally respond with shame and guilt to things that may necessarily not have been negative.
And it's not always like the need to reset. I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not wanting to reset out of something negative necessarily, but there's a little bit of truth in there that I have. And then it's also like, there's a desire for some refinement. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, if I've noticed a pattern or something like that, and I keep chasing the same thing, I'm going to get the same results. And as good as those moments were, they weren't necessarily fulfilling in other areas. And I think a combination of personal life shifts and then the pandemic just slowing everything down, I think my values have shifted. You know, I value peace of mind a little bit more. I value quiet time a little bit more. I don't feel like, this message of chase the bag, chase the bag, chase the bag. Okay, how many bags you chasing? And then what? You know, and then what? Then you get the bag, and then what? You know, so it's like who are you trying to get to with what you're doing? You know what I'm saying? And then you just get it, identifying and you're still not satisfied. Yeah, identifying the purpose. You know what? In all of that, if you are not renewed in your mind, you will continue to conform to what these cliches are. You know what I'm saying? Without trying to. You think you're an individual, and that's a popular thing to say. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a popular thing to say, I'm on my whatever, I keep it 100. Okay, bet.
Right. But like you said, in the private time, what gives you pause? Whether, like you said, if it's not even a reset from something negative, just the refining of how can I be better?
Yeah, just
how can I be better? What could I have done differently? It's just self-reflection, right? At its finest. And so I think, well, first I want to read these definitions. I love definitions because it also helps the audience get a better idea of where we're going and what we're talking about. Can't always assume that people understand what we're talking about, even at the surface level or the foundational level. So transform is the product of a transformation. Simple, right? A rule for making a transformation. And another word is to convert, to transfigure, transmogrify, and transmute. It's fun. Metamorphosis, right? And then we have conform. Conform is to act in accordance or harmony. This is what you were just talking about. Comply, to conform to rules, to act in accordance with the prevailing standards, attitudes, practices of a society or a group. You just said this. One has to conform in order to succeed in this company, or to become similar in nature or character. So you just spoke to that. Adult peer pressure. This is what society says. This is what the expectations are. And sometimes if we're not identifying our why, if we're not clear on our purpose and we're not clear on the path to get where we're going, we can deter without even knowing that we're off.
And like I think of social media, you know, like especially for artists, especially for creative people, one of the biggest fears I think is falling off, not being hot no more, or that you're like everything you're doing is trying to get this audience that the person you admire has. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing there's probably a team. You're probably communicating not with a bot, but somebody hired to manage that personal connection you feel to this star. You know what I'm saying? To this person or whatever. So there's things that contribute to it. And then I also look at like what's the worst case scenario? Let's say your goal like is to get $10 million because everybody says get $10 million. Well, what if you only get 500,000? Are you a sucker? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, does your life suck now because you only got 500,000? You know, but like
according to standards,
it's not worth anything because we don't, you know. So I've been asking myself a lot of questions, and I'm not trying to be on the fourth floor of my life being goofy. So this is what it is, Treese.
Not the fourth floor.
Fourth floor, honey.
I was about to say something I'll leave for after this conversation.
Girl.
Yeah, I don't need you stuck.
Yeah.
Honey.
No need to be goofy. I'm so serious.
I think we've had enough of that, right? So, you know what's interesting? This applies to so many things. It applies to so many things. I like the term adult peer pressure. I really do like the term. You know what's funny? This example keeps coming up, and maybe it's something that I need to also deal with because there's obviously a root to it that's irritating me.
Let's hear it. What is it?
I think what it is, though, is I'm still in a space of accepting the wholeness and the totality of who I am and being okay with it. You know, being okay with not,
what if you're regular?
Not worrying about what people think, right?
Yeah.
So someone told me that I was extra, and everybody knows this about me, right? But they told me that it sometimes it was unnecessary.
What was unnecessary, Treese?
Me being extra. Me and my, you know,
like in conversation or like how you dress or
everything. Like to me, it's just a standard of excellence, right? And I tried to apply it to everything. So, and mind you, I am actually not as extra as I used to be. I used to be.
None of us is extra as we
honey,
used to be.
If I wanted to wear a fur to the store, I did. Okay.
Oh my God.
In my 5-inch heels, you know.
But
but
mad extra.
Yeah, and it's okay, right? Like, to me, there is nothing wrong with being you. Who said that we have to conform to somebody else's standard of how they think we should do it, who they think we should be, and why? Who said that? Who gave you permission to place a standard on my life to tell me it's too much? Right?
But I think, but look, let me ask you this. Are the amount of people that have complimented you and built you up, is the number of people that love on you in your life?
Of course it's greater
higher than the number of people who have said this about you.
Yeah.
But you see how this is what
you're like this, but I love it. Don't ever change. Right? So absolutely. Some people value it and appreciate it so much they'll call me to help them with something because they know that I did something similar, so extra, and they want to do it too. Right? So I am okay with it. Just, I think because it was someone close to me, it bothered me.
I got you.
And that's what it was.
I got you.
Right? And then, yes, Eastside Gangster. What is, ESJ, Equity and Social Justice. That's what I think.
You know what? Y'all love each other. Y'all clearly love each other because that question was so left field.
It was.
I was like, that's like when the babies be like, and you be like, he said he wants to go bowling. That is funny. Girl, ain't nowhere in the world I would have known what that brother was talking about.
Social justice.
Shout out to Kenny Wyatt.
Mr. Wyatt himself.
Shout out to Mr. Wyatt. That mess is funny.
So little stuff like people sometimes, like you said, as an artist, chasing whatever high that is. Like, exactly. I can see the challenge of that to say, like, what is the standard? You need to create your own.
But I think
we're busy looking at what other people do, how they do it. And we're busy judging where we are and where we're going based off of what somebody else has achieved. And that's the whole reason why a lot of people are afraid to start the business. They're afraid it's going to fail before they even try. They're comparing. The thief of comparison.
It's also like it also makes you chase stuff without being truthful about where you are, because maybe you got the nerve to start the business, but you're not honest enough to say where your finances are. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not that you or you want to do it, but I don't know, just you have the dream, but you don't have necessarily the appropriate amount of work ethic behind it. You know what I'm saying? It's all talk. Or deep down, you really don't want no business, but everybody says you should have one. You get what I'm saying? Like, you really don't even want the doggone thing. You'd rather help, but because everyone says you should own something, you think you should own something. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Right.
It's a good thing to encourage, especially the Black community, to begin to own things, to own their businesses, to own their homes and things like that. But if you're really talking ownership, then you're talking financial literacy and financial management. So there's other things that go into it, and not everybody's okay with being like, okay, I'm not in a position to buy yet. And then there's shame around that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in a position to, I got too much debt. I got this, I got that, or whatever. So that's another conversation that can allow, if there's room for imperfection, if there's more space for imperfection, I think we'll see more refinement. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's too broad of a stroke to paint people with, but I just think the more grace and truth and compassion there can be for imperfection, the more perfected people can become.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to embrace it, though. You have to be in a place to not be in denial, to embrace your truth. Like I still struggle with time management in some areas, but I was able, it wasn't until I actually realized how bad it was and really came into my own truth with it to say, this is going to be an ultimate destroyer for you. And for your children, because, you know, there's things that you need to do to provide for them. And so I had to really, I just had grace, just crazy favor and grace. Because, honey, the people who should have fired me at some point, but little stuff like that, like to realize, okay, you know what? I do not do this well. And I have a lot of those moments where I can absolutely do this better. And it's important to really own that and to say, but you know what? Being a parent, and I tell people all the time, you don't just parent how they look. You got character, you got all kinds of stuff in there, including the stuff that gives you pause or that you know that nobody else knows, start to show up in the kids. Then you got to deal with it within yourself for real, because you're going to have to deal with it one way or the other. And you're going to have to deal with it. So my advice, you know, that private stuff to you all who don't have children yet, who want children, deal with that stuff. Like if you got an issue with whatever it is, lying, I don't care what it is, you know, deal with that, because it'll show up in your children. And then you'll have to deal with it double. For me, people pleasing was huge, because I recognized it in Reggie earlier. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, just agreeing and all that with him. I'm like, time out. I had to identify that, to say, you know what, son, you don't do this for other people. Yes, you want to make people proud, but you're going to have to learn what you want for yourself and go after what you want for yourself and have a voice for you. And when you're with strong families, and when you, you know, are wanting to live to an expectation, that is a struggle, right? To conform to something that's specific. But they're going to have to learn. You're going to have to, your life is to be lived for you, to be pleasing to God, but you have to do what's best for you and not what you think you should do for other people.
Well, and so, the thing that makes me think of, which is also something, you know, popping up personally, is just, you hear the saying, but it's real, looking for love in all the wrong places. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, I'm trying to earn love. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to work my way into love. I'm trying to labor to sustain love when love just is.
Yep.
You know
and you don't
saying?
have
love
to.
just is. That when sounds cute. You can recite that all day long, but it's like, to really get that, I think takes a little bit of time. And I think you learn it at different phases. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just again, I don't know. It's like we say stuff all the time, but we don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Say stuff all the time, have all kinds of cool quotes, all kinds of cool encouraging memes, and don't really walk in it, you know? So my all I'm saying in transform versus conform, it's a personal challenge to actually see how much I'm walking this out, be sober in my assessment, you know what I'm saying? And for anyone listening, I'm looking at Romans 12:1-3. Okay. Specifically verses 2 and 3. Okay. Everybody else can dig and hit me up on it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it some more. You know what I'm saying? It's a personal challenge.
And that is a great one indeed. And since you've mentioned it, this was probably about a week ago. It has challenged me as well. So what we post, you all, what we say, what we do is absolutely viewed by others, maybe accidentally, maybe accidental. It may be very intentional in the reason why you've seen it or heard it. So just take heed. Transform versus conform. Romans 12:1-3 is what Shaki has been chewing on, and see how it applies to you. How can you refine your life? How can you refine your mind? How can you transform it and renew it where you are showing up to your life in a different manner and doing what's best for you and not for others? All right, y'all. We out of here. We are out of here. Thank you for joining us today, sitting and sipping on a little bit of truth. And thank you for listening to The Sentiment on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Next on Rainier Avenue Radio, we have encore broadcast of Clean Greens Living.
It's just different.
So,
Thank you for listening to The Sentiment. Please join me next time with the next topic and the next guest that graces us with their presence. In the meantime, be blessed and be gracious and kind to yourself and others. Mwah.
Aggie.